Hello and welcome to yesterday's Airlines. And in this video we're going to be taking a look at the resin sample of the Aviation400 Boeing 787-9. Now first of all I want to thank Aviation400 for sending me through this sample. The Boeing 787 production with Aviation400 is well beyond the point of this resin sample. As I understand it, the 9 version at least is almost ready for production. So it's really nice, nonetheless, of them to send me through some samples so we can, have a quick look at the video. And I don't want to spend a lot of time, getting stressed about the details of this sample because the resin models often look quite different to how they look in diecast. And this one itself actually is especially prototypical, as you will see. So nonetheless, it's a good opportunity to have a quick look around and talk a little bit about the mold that Aviation400 are currently producing. So as you can see, just like the A380 they sent me, this one is made of this resinous plastic. And I get the feeling this may have been 3D printed, judging by the way that it looks in terms of the material here. It's a little hard to get the camera focus on this, but overall, it's got a very smooth finish on the fuselage, and then on the wings, it's got this very patterned and quite rough finish to it. So I know lots of people don't think we need another 787. Clearly Aviation400 think we do, and they look like they're keen to be competing with Phoenix and other major manufacturers in this space, which I can understand. I'm looking at the model overall here. I think that the details are good and it will be nice, but obviously it's at this very early stage of production, and just looking at the resin sample itself is not necessarily going to convince you either way of what the future model looks like. But if we do give it a once over, you can see it's got very detailed landing gear at the front here, and it's also got quite a good nose angle. And I did have a look comparing the angle of the nose here with that of the NG787, which I happen to have one of over here. And you can see that actually I think that the angle of the two, if I can just get them here, is actually quite similar, and that's a good thing because the NG787 is a good mould. Now one thing that is interesting is that the NG787 is slightly lower down at the nose. I think the undercarriage on the Aviation400 is slightly higher, and it was one thing that NG did was decrease the height of their nose gear, and for a while it gave their 787s a bit of a hot rod stance, which I think this Tahiti one actually still does have. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what the height of the finished undercarriage is on this model. Otherwise, though, you can see that it's obviously got the see-through engine, as you'd expect. And one of the things that makes me think this is a very early sample is that obviously you can see the wings aren't straight, and it's got these strengthening kind of struts and braces on the wings here, and also on the horizontal stabilizers and on one side of the tail too. So these are clearly things that aren't going to be on the real model, but it gives an insight into how this sample has been produced. And overall, I have to say that the shape of the sample is looking good. You've got the stabilizers there, look nice. The tail cone looks good. From what I can tell of the wings, and as I say, I'm not going to get caught up too much on the fact that they're kind of a bit wrinkly and bent here. That's very common with these resin samples. The shapes look good and the proportions all look right. And I think that, given Aviation400's reputation for producing really high quality detailed 400 scale models, complete with beacons, that this one will also turn out to be, a very nice 787 too. And as I understand it, the first announcements of these 787-9s is going to be out probably in July. So hopefully it won't be a long period between the announcement and the release. I know Aviation400 can sometimes be a bit funny like that, but overall this mold is looking promising, I think, and I'm sure that it obviously won't have those wavy wings, and when it's got all its details associated with it, it's going to be a really nice 787, which will compete very favorably with the Gemini and Phoenixmodels and and also with the better 787 molds out there, which are made by NG and jcwings. Now, in terms of the other 787 variants, as I understand it, development of those is not as advanced as it is of the 787-9. So I know lots of people are keen on, especially the 787-8. I believe it will be coming, but it is not at the point where announcements are going to be made, or even a die-cast sample has been made yet. So we'll have to wait a little while before we see movement in that space, I feel. But in the meantime, Aviation400 obviously are working on this mould. They're working on the Airbus A380 as well. And I think those will probably come before the other 787 variants, from what I understand at this point in time. So there we go. Anyway, that's just a quick look around this quick resin sample that Aviation400 kindly sent me. And, you know, 787s aren't something that I have a large number of. In fact, I've probably got most of the ones I would want to collect. But I think that there's still scope for some interesting liveries, especially with the shorter version of the type. And certainly 787s have proven themselves in 400 scale to be big sellers, especially in the Asian market. So I can completely understand why Aviation400 are progressing this mold and not progressing, you know, something more classic or more unusual. Anyway, there we go. Thanks very much for watching. If you enjoy the video, as always, check me out on Instagram at Airlines. Subscribe to my Facebook channel and obviously this YouTube channel. And the website is always the hub of everything I do. So there's tons of material on there talking about the molds and other news in 400 scale. Stay tuned for more new mold announcements in the future from Aviation400, NG models, and others. And thanks very much for watching. See you later.